5 years ago, I put 3 different engines on 3 different mowers. Same property, same grass, same cutting schedule every single week. One of them did not make it to 200 hours. That failure happened before year 3 on a machine that sold for over $2,000 under normal residential conditions with maintenance done on schedule. Nobody at the dealership warned me it was coming. Most homeowners spend $2,000 to $4,000 on a mower and make the entire decision based on the name on the hood and the number on the price tag. The engine nameplate might as well not exist. 3 engines power most of the riding mowers and zero-turns sold in America. Briggs Intek, Kohler Courage and Command Pro, Kawasaki FR and FX. This is not a test of cut quality or seat comfort. This is 5 years of hours, failures, and repair costs. Only one of them came out clean. Briggs Stratton has been on small engines since 1908. At one point, it was the largest small gasoline engine manufacturer in the world, and that history is real. The name did not build itself on nothing. Walk into any Home Depot or Lowe's and read the engine tags on the riding mowers. Craftsman, Troy-Bilt, Husqvarna at the lower price points. Most of them are running a Briggs Intek underneath. The name on the deck gets the attention. The engine underneath is the only thing that decides how long the machine stays useful. On July 20th, 2020, Briggs & Stratton filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with over $1 billion in debt and was sold to KPS Capital Partners. That is worth naming, not because the bankruptcy created the quality problem, but because it was the result of it. Longtime dealers who watched it unfold were not surprised. The quality had been sliding for years before the financial collapse became public. One former dealer put it plainly. Once the quality went downhill, while the prices went steeply uphill, that was the end. The specific failure mechanics see most consistently on the Intek is the camshaft compression release. The Intek uses a center cast metal camshaft design rather than a forged one-piece cam. The cam lobes wear down over time, while the compression release mechanism fails at unpredictable intervals. When it goes, the engine cannot be hand-cranked, and the electric starter stalls out completely. The mower will not turn over until the engine comes apart. One experienced small engine technician documented replacing more than 300 of the same camshaft across his career. Multiple independent mechanics report 3 to 5 of these failures every single season on the 21 horsepower Intek specifically. Documented cases show camshaft fractures under 100 hours of operation, with some replacement cams failing again in under 6 hours of runtime. That is not an edge case. That is a design pattern repeating for decades with no resolution. Then there is the auto choke system. The mechanism sticks, fails to disengage at operating temperature, and the engine surges or refuses to start cleanly in warm weather. Mechanics routinely convert Intek carburetors to manual choke as a baseline fix because the automatic system cannot be trusted across seasons. That repair never shows up in the sticker price. The consistent picture from independent small engine shops is 2 to 3 seasons of adequate performance. Then the camshaft and carburetor problems arrive together right when the owner has started to rely on the machine. By year 4, the repair bill often exceeds the mower's value. The name is the same. The trust it carries is the same. The engineering that earned it is not. What you are buying at that price point is the reputation the brand built decades ago, not the standards that built the reputation. Kohler is more complicated than most buyers realize, and getting it wrong can cost you just as much as buying a bad Briggs. Sometimes more. Because Kohler is not one engine. It is 2 completely different engines sold under the same brand name at dealer lots every single day. Most buyers never know which one they are getting until the problems start. The Kohler Courage is the engine found on most mid-range residential mowers. Cub Cadet, Toro, Ariens, rated at approximately 750 hours of service life under residential use. Designed specifically to compete with the Briggs Intek on cost, not with Kohler's own Command series on quality or longevity. It was sourced from China. The commercial warranty Kohler offers on the Courage is 90 days. The residential warranty is 2 years. That coverage gap tells you exactly what Kohler considers this engine built to handle before you ever start it. Early Courage engines produced between 2003 and 2006 had serious and well-documented problems. Head bolts improperly torqued at the factory caused cracked engine blocks, overheating, camshaft gear failures, head gasket failures, and valve timing problems that caused rough running and power loss. Some OEM manufacturers, reportedly including Toro, sourced alternative engines for a period before returning to Kohler. There was no official recall. Kohler replaced short blocks for persistent customers who pushed hard enough, but labor costs were always the customer's expense. The kind of resolution that costs the company as little as possible while leaving the buyer to absorb the damage. Later versions and the updated 7000 series resolved the most severe early failures. But the fundamental gap between the Courage and the Command series was never closed. And that gap is exactly where buyers get hurt. The Kohler Command and Command Pro are an entirely different engine in every meaningful way. Hydraulic valve lifters, forged crankshaft, full pressure lubrication system, manufactured in Kohler, Wisconsin. One documented Command Pro is on record, past 8,000 hours still running. Independent mechanics consistently describe the single-cylinder Command as one of the best small engines ever built for long-term residential and light commercial use. The difference in purchase price between the Courage and the Command Pro can run from $1,500 to $3,000. The difference in rated service life is over 1,200 hours. There is one question to ask before you sign anything. What series is actually on this mower? Courage or Command Pro? Because nobody behind that counter is going to volunteer the answer. Same badge, two completely different machines, and the floor salesperson is not going to walk you through that distinction before you pay. Kawasaki is not a big box engine. If you shop exclusively at Home Depot or Lowe's, you will rarely encounter one, and that is not an accident. Kawasaki-powered mowers live at dealers on Skag, Exmark, Gravely, and John Deere commercial zero-turns. The same zero-turn deck with a Kawasaki FX engine versus a Kohler Command Pro can run $400 to $600 more at the point of sale. What that premium actually buys is the whole point. Kawasaki builds its lawnmower engines in Maryville, Missouri, where production began in 1989, and at a second facility in Boonville, Missouri. That is not a marketing tagline pulled from a brochure. It is a documented manufacturing history that predates most of the quality conversations happening in this category today. Every Kawasaki V-twin uses cast iron cylinder liners. Aluminum bore engines wear faster under sustained heat and load. Cast iron resists that wear significantly better, and that difference matters most during a southern summer cutting Bermuda or Zoysia at full throttle in 95-degree heat. Exactly the kind of sustained stress that separates engines built to last from engines built to a price point. The 90-degree V-twin configuration achieves primary balance that reduces vibration and mechanical stress accumulating over thousands of hours of operation. The full-pressure twin oil feed system provides continuous lubrication to critical internal components, even at maximum load. These are not premium features added to justify a higher sticker price. They are baseline engineering decisions with direct and measurable consequences on long-term reliability. The FR series carries a 3-year unlimited hours warranty, covering both residential and commercial use. Well-maintained FR engines regularly reach 1,500 to 2,000 hours before any major service is required. The FX series is full commercial grade, found on the Skag Turf Tiger, Exmark Laser Z, and Hustler Super Z, with service data consistently citing 3,000 to 4,000 or more hours under proper maintenance. A documented commercial fleet comparison put the numbers on the table. Kohler-powered mowers required a valve adjustment at 300 hours, carburetor cleaning at 500 hours, and a full top-end rebuild at 680 hours. Kawasaki units running under identical conditions required only routine oil changes and filter replacements. The initial $500 price advantage of the Kohler units was completely erased by accumulated repair costs before Season 5 ended. In the interest of a fair assessment, Kawasaki issued a recall in October 2023 on FR series engines for a fuel tube issue with 8 fire incidents reported. A separate recall in June 2024 covered certain FX and FS series engines for a voltage regulator overheating issue. Both were resolved through free dealer repair programs at no cost to the owner. Those recalls matter, and they deserve to be named. But what separates them from the Briggs camshaft problem is the nature of the failure. Manufacturing process errors on specific production runs, not a fundamental design flaw repeating across the same engine architecture for 30 years with no resolution. When a mechanic is spending his own money on his own lawn, this is the engine he buys. That answer has not changed in 20 years. Same property, same grass, same cutting schedule from the first season to the last. Maintenance performed on the manufacturer's recommended intervals for every engine, documented from day one. This was not a laboratory test. It was 5 years of a real lawn, with real hours and a real repair log that did not lie. The Briggs Intek performed adequately through the first 2 seasons. Nothing remarkable, nothing alarming. The auto choke issues began showing up in warm weather during season 2, requiring a cold start sequence on a warm engine that had no business needing one. By the start of season 3, the camshaft compression release failed under 200 hours. The electric starter stalled on every attempt. The engine would not turn over. The mower went to the shop and came back with a repair estimate that opened a conversation nobody wants to have about a machine they bought less than 3 years ago. Fix it or replace it. That is not a decision a $2,000 mower should be forcing before the 3rd season ends. The Kohler Courage ran smoother in the early seasons than the Briggs. No dramatic single-point failure in the first 2 years, which is exactly the kind of performance that builds false confidence. Around the 400-hour mark, rough running and intermittent power loss began appearing, consistent with the valve timing issues documented across early Courage engines. No single catastrophic moment, just repair costs stacking season by season, each one easy to rationalize on its own until the total comes into focus. The Kawasaki FR ran for 5 years. Oil changes, filter replacements, nothing else. 0 unscheduled shop visits across the entire test period. Engine behavior in year 5 was indistinguishable from year 1. Cold starts clean. Full load in summer heat without surging or hesitation. The kind of performance that stops feeling impressive only because it never gives you a reason to think about it. At the 5-year mark, the cumulative unplanned repair and downtime costs on the Briggs & Kohler units combined had exceeded the original purchase price premium of the Kawasaki by a margin that was not close. The engine that cost the most at the dealer was the cheapest engine to own. That is the number that matters, and it is the one nobody shows you in the mower aisle. The embarrassing failure was the Briggs Intek camshaft compression release. Under 200 hours, normal residential lawn, maintenance on schedule. The dealer called it a maintenance issue. The independent mechanic pulled the cam, looked at it, and said he had replaced the same part more times than he could count on the same engine design. 2 completely different conversations about the same preventable failure. The decision comes down to what you are actually planning to do with the machine and how long you intend to keep it. Under 5 years with light use and a tight budget, the Kohler Courage is a defensible purchase if you understand the 750-hour ceiling you are buying into. 6 to 8 years with moderate use on 1 to 2 acres. The Kohler Command Pro is a genuinely excellent engine backed by service records that justify every dollar of the premium. 10 or more years, 2 or more acres, demanding cutting conditions, or a southern season that runs long and runs hard. Kawasaki FR is the minimum worth considering. The FX is the upgrade that pays for itself over time, and the one mechanics choose when the decision is entirely their own. Before you look at anything else on that mower, find the engine spec tag, read it. Ask what it is rated for in hours and whether that rating is residential or commercial. If the person behind the counter cannot answer that question clearly, walk away. 5 years, 3 engines, 1 property. Only one of them is still running like it owes you nothing.